Well, many thanks for joining us. You're watching QTV, and this is coming to you live from our studios along Caraba Avenue. Riot in summer, it is the right time to engage young people in peace building. A UN peace building fund project focusing on young women and men has been launched to advocate for the prevention of violence and hate speech. Until recently, our prisons have been inhumane and degrading places for inmates and in need of reform. The Rapid Prison Assessment Report has been launched as part of reform in line with the Mandela Rules and international human rights standards. And in line with its newly validated policy, the Gambia Press Union says it will no longer offer legal support to media workers who are not registered members of the union. In business news, we hear about the importance of cross-border trade protocols in the Senegambia sub-region. And in a related matter, a Senegal-based sports and culture tour operator visits the Gambia as a prospective tourism destination. In international news, today is World Tuberculosis Day, and we look at the significance of this year's theme, which is "The Clock is Ticking." And in sports news, Gambia's under-20 football coach, Matan Boj, has been given an honor by fellow coaches for his outstanding achievement in the recently concluded AFCON under-20 in Mauritania. As the Gambia national football team Scorpions get ready to play their final two group games in the 2022 AFCON qualifiers, we asked the public what they think of their chances. Well, for more on these and other stories coming up, I am Ansmane Sonyasi. And now we take a look at the news in detail. Youths are often in the forefront during protests that often turn violent, as seen in the recent Sanyang incident. While having young people serve as peace ambassadors can lessen community conflicts. The UN Peacebuilding Fund project focusing on young women and men has been launched to advocate for the prevention of violence and hate speech. Janaba Sonko joined the launching via Zoom, and Sina tells us more.
The UN Peacebuilding Fund project on young women and men is a 2-year project developed to address the institutional barriers such as exclusion from decision-making for young people, to strengthen youth capacity for engagement and participation in governance and leadership, and to address hate speech and counter fake news and misinformation of young people through media and local community structures. The UNFPA representative gave more details.
An innovative and novel youth-led project which seeks to mobilize the young men and women of the Gambia to participate in community dialogue initiatives at intra and intergenerational level, while hoping to enhance inclusion, social cohesion, and sustainable peace. You'll agree with me that this is one of the Gambia has always been a peaceful country, and so we desire to keep it so. And because without peace, there is no development.
The engagement of youth in peace building in a wider perspective can be ensured through arts, culture, tourism, sports, and education. The innovativeness and creativeness of young people in those areas could be mobilized effectively by connecting them with wider peace building objectives such as building bridges between divided communities and ensuring a viable process of reconciliation. Bakari Baji, the Minister of Youth and Sports, explained how this fitted in with his ministry's agenda.
This is in line with the ministry's vision for an empowered youth populace that is critical in harnessing the demographic dividend in line with the African Union roadmap as set out in our National Development Plan. At this juncture, I would like to call on all identified implementing partners to work audaciously in ensuring that the project of their interventions had a rippling effects and address the objectives of the project as outlined in the project document.
The UN resolution on youth, peace and security recognizes the role of youth in the prevention and resolution of conflicts and urges countries to increase representation of youth in decision-making at all levels. This UN peacebuilding project will target several regions in the Gambia over a 2-year period. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Wasonko.
The Ministry of Interior, in partnership with the Gambia Prison Services and UNDP, on Wednesday launched the Rapid Prison Assessment Report as part of reform in line with the Mandela Rules and international human rights standards. Omar Pijalo attended and he filed in this report.
After decades of maladministration and challenging environment with dilapidated infrastructure, lack of equipment and mobility, the Gambia Prison Service and other development agencies are committed to improving the infrastructure and standard of care to inmates in our prisons. At the launch, Asata Day said over the years, the reputation of the Gambia prison has not been positive, as the design of the prison under the colonial era were far from international human rights standards. She asked that the recent revelations from the TRRC brought out the torture and degrading treatment that prisoners endure.
These challenges highlighted under the rapid prison reform assessment are an opportunity to support strategically the foreseen intervention. This intervention includes infrastructural, digitalization, capacity building support, among others. Let us also emphasize that as we consider the welfare of prisons, the report has shown that the prison personnel need better staff and quarters and comprehensive training to ensure that they have the capacity to meet the Mandela Rules standards. I therefore urge the support also be put under the welfare of the prison personnel as well.
The Minister of the Interior, Yankuba J.N. Sonko, said under the previous regime, the prison service was largely neglected and its mandate abused. Minister Sonko said when the COVID-19 pandemic reached our shores, our prisons were already overcrowded, which affected the prisoners.
We have an opportunity to change our prison facility to accommodate the needs of inmates. Juveniles in detention need very different care and attention than adult inmates. An education program at minimum is needed to ensure the youth do not fall behind and into further criminality. A vocational training program for young men to ensure that when they are released, they have secure skills to provide for themselves and their families. This, in turn, would make reintegration smoother. The Ministry of Interior cannot do this alone and will seek partnership with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Women, Children and Social Welfare, and other stakeholders.
The Director General of Prison Services, Ansumana Mane, commended the efforts of the present government and partners like the UNDP in improving the standard of the facilities of our prisons.
Nevertheless, we still need to do more to address the structural conditions of the prisons. Probably relocating the new prisons to a new prisons. This ambition is precisely why the program is very important and relevant with the UNDP support to link the prison rapid assessment and documentary with the objective of mobilizing resources to enhance prisons reform in the Gambia.
The launching of the Rapid Assessment Report is expected to bring to light the greatest needs and priorities for the prison reform agenda in a place where heinous human rights abuses have taken place. The report was issued with an accompanying photo book and video documentary. Reporting for Qtv News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
And from that report by Omar P. Jallo, we will take our first commercial break, but the news continues when we return. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Qtv News coming to you live from our studios along Kairaba Avenue. Now, the Gambia Press Union on Wednesday reviewed and validated its legal assistance policy and membership benefits. According to the document, the GPU is no longer obliged to provide any form of legal support to media workers who are not registered members of the union. Jennifer Sonko tells us more.
The Gambia Press Union has a responsibility to safeguard the interests and welfare of media workers. The union provides legal assistance to journalists, which applies to only criminal cases relating to press freedom. According to the welfare policy document, the GPU will enter into an agreement with at least 2 law firms to enable journalists have free access to legal consultations. However, the GPU says it will no longer provide legal support to media workers who are non-GPU members. Lamin Jahate, the GPU's program manager, explains further.
There has been some paradigm shift, or rather I should say some system change. Over the past 2 years, we have seen more focus on welfare issues, welfare initiatives that are geared towards protecting and promoting the issues of welfare of journalists. However, though, as we move on with our welfare issues, there is going to be a little bit of change from the norm. The norm before was the GPU was standing for everyone, every journalist. In as much as this was good, but when we reevaluate ourselves, we realize that perhaps we were biting more than we could chew. We were trying more than we could deliver. So going forward, the new norm or the new reality is going to be the Gambia Press Union as a membership-based organization. The GPU is a membership-based organization. Therefore, the key focus of the GPU should be, and I said going forward will be, the key focus will be on members.
The president of the Gambia Press Union, Sirif Bojang Jr., says not providing legal support to non-members is non-discriminatory but fair. He stressed that the money paid by members is not much, but the commitment to the union is what is needed.
We are not discriminatory. As was said there are certain things that every journalist or every media practitioner in this country will benefit from. I mean, we already in the parliament, Thursday, tomorrow, the access to information bill, AIT, will be tabled. It will be brought back to the parliament. GPU invested so much energy and resources into this, and it's not just for every media practitioner, it's for everybody in this country. So these things will continue. If any journalist is in trouble, GPU will go all out. But what we cannot do is to put our resources there when you don't show any commitment.
The policy review and validation is to strengthen media freedom and independence. The policy will be reviewed every 4 years. However, mid-term reviews will also be conducted 2 years from the adoption of the policy. Reporting for QTV News, I am General Sonko.
Now, everywhere one looks, there appear to be commercial and residential buildings being constructed. The increase in the price increment of cement due to an apparent shortage has led many Gambians to complain. On Monday, QTV went out to speak to consumers and suppliers. The story is a collaboration by Don Williams and Malik Nyang. The narration is done by Malik Nyang.
The steep rise in cement prices is causing some to slow down on their building projects. It was not hard to find complainants unhappy at what they say is a lack of price control in the market sector, leading to the price of cement skyrocketing. Mohamed Lamin Keta, a photographer and constructor, explains his story.
5 or 6 days, I bought 50 bags of cement here at $335. I paid transport, each bag $20 for Birkama, 50 bags. After 2 days, I came back here, I found that $340. If I asked them receipt, they said, no, you don't issue receipts. Yesterday, I bought 100 bags, not from one place, from different places, $350. Today, as I'm talking to you, I asked him, he said $355. I give my bag because I'm on construction. Definitely, it's at a very high side on me. $355, that is very serious.
Mr. Keta alleges that every day the price of cement escalates due to what he says are free market policies being introduced. He said the government needs to intervene urgently by setting a price control mechanism that will help alleviate the situation. He believes this will put a stop to this unfriendly situation affecting many, especially the less privileged individuals who cannot afford to buy many bags of cement for more than $350 each. QTV also met some frustrated Gambians who earn their living from the cement business to share their views on the issue. Speaking on their behalf, Bubaba, who drives for Gazem, commented on the adverse effect of their livelihoods of the shortage of cement.
It's affect our livelihood because it's where we are obtaining our fish money from, and in fact, it is creating a big gap for us right now.
And Mr. Butt tells us what he believes is the only solution.
I'm just saying the government let them act and act very quickly indeed, because people are in need of it. Yeah, the government they should act and act quickly. Without wasting much time, the state need to act.
In an exclusive interview with the sales and marketing manager of Gazem, Mohamed Lamin Dabo gave us an insight into their current operations in relation to the shortage and cost of cement in the country.
But regarding the cost of cement, Gazem, we try to maintain our price as much as possible. It's been a year plus we didn't increase our price. We are selling at $2.75. We just increased our $10 on our price on Saturday, and that has to do with an extra increment from the external bodies, which has to do with freight cost. Bringing cement from abroad to Gambia has been increased by $20 per ton. And we make a general announcement that we will increase our price to $10. Beyond that, we also had, and I personally witnessed people are selling cement at $3.50 at retail stores. But that one, we have no control over retailers.
Most of the interviewees laid their grievances at the door of government, although it was not clear what the government can do to alleviate what is meant to be a global problem. Malik Nyang for Qtv News.
And we will now take a second commercial break, but we'll be back in just a moment. Thanks for staying with us. Now, in business news, the Network for Financial and Tax Reporters Gambia chapter, in partnership with the GRA, held a forum on ECOWAS protocols on interstate transit trade barriers within the sub-region. More in this report by Jimintu Drame.
Aims to equip journalists and members of the Network of Financial and Tax Reporters the requisite knowledge on reporting accurate and effective issues on cross-border matter and trade within the sub-region. 30 journalists from various media houses are participating. At the event, Lamin Barrow, the chairman of the Timber Association, explained some of the incorrect information the public has on timber dealings in the country and problems of cross-border trade between Senegal and the Gambia.
We have been trying our best in so many ways. We have offered the ministry a proposal that will bring to the end this malpractice for the interest of both Gambia and Senegal, or to come with a solution that will be benefit by the both sides. This offer has been going, negotiating with the ministry since last 2 years, but we couldn't get a clear response from the ministry.
Abdoulaye Nyoke, the president of the Network for Financial and Tax Reporters Gambia chapter, explains what prompted the training, adding that he expects the participants to put the knowledge gained into practice.
Training emanated as a result of Malians and the Gambia, that they are trying to enter into a trade facilitation business. So but the Gambian authority are having a lot of difficulties at the cross-border. The Malians at the cross-border in terms of transit trade. So we feel it very necessary as a journalist for us to write a request to GRA so as they can provide us with the necessary tools in terms of ECOWAS protocol, creating awareness about the ECOWAS protocols and other information on the cross-border. What I also want to appeal from the private sector, let them open doors for this network. We are not here as a profit-making entity. We are here to complement the government effort through education, and through education to improve tax compliance.
Alhaji Jeng, acting executive secretary of the Gambia Bankers Association, says the banking sector is developing most especially in tackling and reducing scrupulous acts, which he urges participants to sensitize the public about.
The border movement, there are unscrupulous people who are just there to beat the system on financing terrorism, anti-money laundering, and other financial crimes, which we are trying to also to monitor. You have some groups, they are in other countries, they use the social media to scam people.
Amadou Jallo, a participant, explains what he hopes to achieve at the end of the training and what the public should expect in the news columns.
We hope to see many Gambians, more and more Gambians are aware of tax system, and then how to pay tax, and then which institutions, and why we should pay tax in fact.
The issue of cross-border trade in the sub-region has for long suffered from being misrepresented in the media. The interconnected nature of the two countries means there have to be ways to better manage and report on the protocols governing such two-way trade. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
Now, the Cultural and Sporting Adventures, a tour operator based in Senegal, on Tuesday visited the stone circles in Wassou and Kerbach to look at its marketability for French tourists to visit the Gambia. Alusise reports.
Officials of the Cultural and Sporting Adventure were in the country to visit and gather first-hand information about the stone circles with a view to bringing French tourists on a new trail called Stone Circles of Senegambia Trail. The delegation visited the stone circles in Wassou and Kerbach. On arrival at the Kerbach border with Senegal, the group was received by Hamad Nkeba, the Gambia's Minister of Tourism and Culture, together with senior officials of the Gambia Tourism Board and the National Center for Arts and Culture and security heads of both Senegal and the Gambia stationed at the border. Minister Ba said the approach is very significant in the diversification of the tourism source market for both countries as he looks forward to more tourists visiting the Gambia. According to Minister Ba, the government of the Gambia has a policy for a joint tourist destination marketing with Senegal to attract more tourists to the Senegambia region.
This is another segment in our tourism development. And we believe that many more will come and will be received. Receive more tourists. That's why the government of the Gambia developed tourism facilities all over the country. To promote domestic and regional tourism in the Gambia.
The stone circles were burial sites and represent graves for important people in society like nobles and warriors. There are close to 10,000 stone circle sites in the country, but only Wassou and Kerbach are maintained, as Kerbach Stone Circles is a UNESCO heritage site. Hassoum Cissé, historian and director of the National Center for Arts and Culture, welcomes the visit.
We think it's a good idea, and as you can see, we are busy. Trying to valorize and try to upgrade. Our sites. So that's why we are very much happy, to be involved in this, and we'll continue to work until we continue, to receive visitors, who come mainly to enjoy the spectacle that the stone circles of Senegambia offer.
Bon, pourquoi on est ici? Tout simplement parce que ces sites sont un passé riche en culture.
Speaking French, Graziano Tevere, president of the Cultural and Sporting Adventure, expressed his delight at the warm reception accorded his delegation, which he said demonstrates the commitment of the two countries to share the benefit of tourism and culture. He appeared pleased with what his team found and is hopeful of a fruitful new beginning. Adam Njai, Director of Marketing at the GT Board, applauded the Tourism Minister for what he calls his commitment to the bilateral relations between the Gambia and Senegal in the area of tourism. He recognizes the stone circles as one of the tourism products of the country.
We are very convinced that by the time we come to the next phase, we'll see a different dimension in terms of tourism for both countries. And I think we always talk about these of one package and two destinations. I think this is the beginning of it.
Lamin Damfa, Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Tourism, said there is a need to diversify tourism marketing strategy in the country, particularly during the pandemic. He also reveals that the national tourism policy is being developed. It is hoped that this visit will further help in promoting the sites into a tourism product to create employment and contribute to the local economy. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
And from that report by Aliou Cisse, we will now take a look at international news in just a moment. Now, World Tuberculosis Day, observed on 24th March each year, seeks to build public awareness about the global epidemic of tuberculosis and efforts to eliminate the disease. The day is commemorated in the Gambia by the WHO in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. This report by Abibatu Cisse is narrated by me. The theme of World TB Day 2021, "The Clock is Ticking," conveys the sense that the world is running out of time to act on the commitments to end TB made by global leaders. This is especially critical in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic that has put end TB progress at risk. In a statement, the WHO country representative in the Gambia, Desta Tirune, gave the estimated cases of TB and the effects it has in Africa.
There were an estimated 2.5 million TB cases in the African region in 2019, accounting for 25% of the global burden, while the region contributes only to 10% of the world population. More than 500,000 African lives are lost to this disease every year. This is inexcusable when TB screening and treatment is available for free in all countries. Too many people are pushed into poverty when they contract TB due to lost income, transport costs, and other expenses.
He went on to say that significant progress has been made by some African countries to combat the disease.
Kenya, Mozambique, Sierra Leone, and the United Republic of Tanzania reduced TB deaths by over 30%.
One way to address TB is through restored and improved screening to rapidly identify people with TB infection or TB disease. The WHO country representative in the Gambia added that some countries have taken initiatives to reduce the rate of tuberculosis disease.
In the United Republic of Tanzania, the reductions were achieved using initiatives to increase case detection among minors, to engage traditional healers, to collect sputum, refer patients living in remote areas, and to scale up community screening and TB control activities.
Antonio Guterres, UN Secretary General, in his report last year to the United Nations General Assembly, said a high-level leadership and action across multiple sectors is needed to urgently reduce TB deaths, increasing funding, advancing universal health coverage for TB prevention and care, addressing drug resistance, promoting human rights, and intensifying TB research. According to Dr. Tirune, the COVID-19 pandemic has made it difficult to access TB services. He says collective effort is needed towards ending TB by 2030 and called on governments and partners to bridge the financial gap so that Africa can reach the Sustainable Development Goals target for this disease. Answane Sonyasi for Qtv News. And from that report, we will now take a look at sports news. Now, the Gambia Football Coaches Association has bestowed an award on Gambia's under-20 football coach, Matar Mboj, for an outstanding achievement in the recently concluded AFCON under-20 in Mauritania. Gambia won the tournament's bronze medal under Matar. Umurikajaga has more.
Work over the last 6 years, culminating most recently in an AFCON under-20 third-place medal. A ceremony held at the GFF House saw members of the football coaches recognizing the work of their colleague Matar Mboj. Mboj has joined the list of one of the greatest Gambian coaches at youth level after equaling the late Bono Johnson's feat at the under-20 level with a bronze medal. After the presentation of the award, he couldn't hide his joy.
You know, for the first time in a very long time, I'm actually speechless. Sometimes you sort of have an idea of what to expect and you picture it in your mind, but this today is truly beyond my expectations. I can only say thank you to the Almighty, but also I have to thank everyone who is here today, and also by extension everyone who couldn't make it. If you see all these medals behind on my neck and all these different trophies and successes, it's not just me. It's not possible for one person to achieve this. It's the result of teamwork.
After receiving the award, in an interview with QTV, in the sidelines of the ceremony, Matar took the opportunity to urge young coaches to work hard.
Aspiring coaches, I just wanted to know that it's not an easy job. You really have to be obsessive about the job. Football is a very jealous, is very jealous, so you cannot have other distractions, other things to focus on. Put your focus on football, and the rewards will be there for you.
Pasware Fai, president of the Gambia Football Coaches Association, says Matar deserves his accolade.
He has done the work, and then he was very committed, and then the results has come. Within 4 years, we all seen what he have done, and even the president of the Gambia Football Association has assessed to it. So for Tafamani, it's the same thing. He worked very hard and then went out and then got his trophies, which you already declared to the public. So it's the same thing that happens to Matar. So anyone who did a good job, you must deserve, and then a compliment from the Coaches Association.
Also attending the ceremony was Habib Musa Fall, a Gambian football fan. For him, domestic football comes first.
People are spending much of their time supporting foreign clubs like Manchester or Chelsea or Real Madrid. For me, I think it's better to support what belongs to you, because the players playing for the national team are Gambian, the coaches are Gambian. So for that being the case, I could do whatever it takes to support my country, and football is one of them.
Matar Mboj began coaching in the Gambia with First Division club Real de Banjul in 2014, winning the league title that year. He briefly worked as under-17 coach before taking over the under-20 team, with whom he won 2 WAFU Zone A titles and completed his current achievements with a bronze medal at the under-20 AFCON in Mauritania. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
And we say congratulations to Coach Matar Mboj. Now, still on football, history could be made on Thursday if Gambia beat Angola and the other match between Gabon and DR Congo goes their way. Our sports reporter Mamudu Gajaga looks at the head-to-head record between the Gambia and Angola.
It seems Gambia can never get away from facing Angola in football. And so it is. They came face-to-face for the 5th time on Thursday. Their previous 4 matches at senior level began with a friendly in Portugal in 2010, which ended in a 1-1 draw. In FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 preliminary qualifiers in September 2019, the Palancas Negras won both legs 1-0 and 2-1 respectively. When the draw was made for the AFCON qualifier Cameroon 2021, little did we anticipate that the Scorpions' first leg qualifier would be a chance for sweet revenge. Furthermore, it didn't just become a normal victory for Gambia Scorpions, but was their first competitive away win at senior level for more than 3 decades, winning 3-1 with Hassan Cisse scoring a brace. Can the Scorpions do the double against the Palancas Negras in this crucial qualifying campaign? Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
And still on this all-important game, the Gambia national football team, the Scorpions, are set to play their final 2 group games in the 2022 AFCON qualifier on Thursday against Angola and on Tuesday away to DR Congo behind closed doors due to COVID-19 restrictions. Our reporter Fode Mane went out to gauge public opinion about these crucial games.
These games will be played with no fans allowed into the stadium to cheer on their respective teams in both at home to Angola and away to DR Congo. However, will this restriction change the Scorpions' dream to secure their first ever participation in the Africa's premier continental tournament to be played in Cameroon? Coach Thompson Fair has trimmed his initial 50-man squad to 25 to play in the 2 upcoming encounters, with no new players being brought into the squad for these 2 crucial matches. Speaking to Scorpions fans ahead of these eagerly awaited matches, Mahmoud Lamin Fofana said he is still hopeful our national team will make it to its maiden AFCON 2022 in Cameroon.
Well, actually, I have not seen the squad list, but I believe that they should give chance to the home-based players as well. I mean, because they are here and they have been working hard. I mean, to be part of this squad. So if at all a chance is given to them, I mean, we be hopeful that they can be able to showcase their talents as well, and also get to the promised land as well. Yeah, I mean, to the people in the, foreign-based players as well. I mean, they're also good. I mean, they can also put them in the squad.
Another fan, Fode Kante, said he has little hope to see the Gambia win against Angola, and he predicted that the best result for the Scorpions for Thursday's game will be a draw.
Si man suma xalaat mooy suñ team bi Gambia daal ñun moom loolu ever since la Gambia dañ dee dem ba am yaakaar si ñoom.
I think our national team is ever since. We will have hope in them, and at the end they will fail us. We hope they win against Angola, but I'm not sure. Mr. Kante further shared his thought at the selection of Gambian footballers playing abroad called to take part in the matches, which he described as being totally unfair to home-based players. Alfuseni Cisse and Bakari Singate also had this to say.
Well, actually, not so much, but as long as they are struggling for their own achievement, but as if football is not easy, though. It's not easy. It's all about hard working. In Leeds, they have the courage, they have the strength, and they can do it, inshallah. With full support, they can do it here. And this year, inshallah, they might qualify. Yeah, that is a matter of very force. They must go.
The Gambia currently sits in first position in Group D with 7 points, and Gabon at second, sharing equal points with the Scorpions, but behind on goal difference. DR Congo at third with 6 points, and Angola at fourth with a single point ahead of Thursday's clash. A win at home for the Gambia on Thursday, and if Gabon beats DR Congo, the Scorpions will surely earn a place in Cameroon 2022 as the top 2 teams to go through. Reporting for QTV News, I am Fode Mane.
And still on this Gambia-Angola match, the Scorpions of the Gambia this evening had the first warm-up ahead of tomorrow's clash with Angola at the Independence Stadium in Bakau. And in a pre-match press conference, coach Tom Sanford is optimistic of a win. Alusise reports.
Well, less than 24 hours since the team arrived in the country on board a chartered flight, Tom Fade and his 25-man squad are having their final training session ahead of a crucial game tomorrow, Thursday, against Angola. This game is quite crucial for the country because a win for the Gambia coupled with a win for Gabon will automatically secure the Gambia its maiden qualification to the AFCON tournament in Cameroon 2022. The game is quite important because the Gambia has never qualified in the AFCON tournament, and hopes are very high that this time around the Gambia will make it to the AFCON tournament. Well, as you can see from my background, the players are warming up and trying to get ready for this crucial game tomorrow here at Independence Stadium. Even though the game will be played behind closed doors, fans are quite optimistic that the team will deliver the results. Coach Tom Fade has been sharing with reporters his thoughts ahead of tomorrow's game.
Naturally, our aim is to win, but Angola is a good football country. They have Anzola, they have a lot of quality players. Underestimating and disrespecting opponents can be always the most danger. We are still the underdog. We come out of the pre-qualification. We can be the first country in history who come out of a pre-qualification. We had to play Djibouti to qualify. So it never happened. Not only the first time Gambia, but never at them. So we are the underdog. Let's keep that role. Let's take the pressure away. We all want to win. I want to celebrate tomorrow together with you all. But if it's not tomorrow, at least on Monday we want to celebrate. But let's go for a win tomorrow. Let's hope Gabon do the same. And then we will see. I think we have a good chance. We won there. We lost twice against in the World Cup qualifiers. But I think we have a good chance to win. But we need also a little bit luck. So inshallah we will win.
Inshallah we would win. I mean, everyone is hopeful. And we pray, and of course, we're keeping our fingers crossed as well, that history will be made tomorrow. Well, I'm afraid that's all about it, but before we take a leave of you, here's a recap for our main headlines. Given the central role of youths in the recent riot in Sanyang, it is the right time to engage young people in peace building. A UN Peace Building Fund project focusing on young women and men has just been launched to advocate for the prevention of violence and hate speech. Until recently, our prisons have been inhumane and degrading places for inmates and in need of reform. The Rapid Prison Assessment Report has been launched as part of reform in line with the Mandela Rules and international human rights standards. In line with its newly validated policy, the Gambia Press Union says it will no longer offer legal support to media workers who are not registered members of the union. In business news, we hear about the importance of cross-border trade protocols in the Senegambia sub-region. And in a related matter, a Senegal-based sports and culture tour operator, visited Gambia as a prospective tourism destination. In international news, today is World Tuberculosis Day, and we looked at the significance of this year's theme, which is "The Clock is Ticking." And in sports news, Gambia's under-20 football coach, Matar Mbodj, has been given an award by fellow coaches for his outstanding achievement in the recently concluded AFCON under-20 in Mauritania. As the Gambia national football team Scorpions get ready to play their final 2 group games in the 2022 AFCON qualifiers, we ask the public what they think of their chances. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of the news. Do join us tomorrow for more news. Until then, thanks for watching.